Ultraman is pretty cool. As one of the pioneers of tokusatsu and henshin heroes, it's an amazing sci-fi series spanning more than half a century with so many great stories in it. With such a long legacy, naturally, other creative people will want to pay homage to it. So there's this fan film spearheaded by Hideaki Anno titled Return of Ultraman, named after the series of the same name. Initially made on the cheap as a school project, the version you'll find that circulates online today is a more refined version made for Japanese science fiction conventions under the Diacom film umbrella. A public screening of this version of the film would lead to Anno meeting Shinji Higuchi, who would later become a frequent collaborator to Anno on so many projects. Speaking of, Hideaki Anno would go on to be a prolific anime director, best known for his controversial yet empathetic mecha anime series Neon Genesis Evangelion. Anno's love of Jerry Anderson's sci-fi works, Gundam, and of course Ultraman would, intentionally or not, influence Eva either in composition of scenes or straight up plot elements, like Nerve being comparable to the defense teams found in many Ultra projects. There's many homages and references between Ultraman and Evangelion that many have pointed out, but I think some people have taken these cute little details and ran a bit too wild with them. Not in terms of overthinking them, that I'm okay with because you're engaging with the media even if it can get a bit wild at times. No, what I'm talking about is people simplifying Eva to basic elements without any nuance. Basically people saying, it's not that deep bro, when referring to Evangelion as a depression show, that the religious symbolism is just there to look cool, or that it's an overglorified Ultraman prestige, which I know the latter doesn't sound realistic for someone to say since Eva's more mecha than henshin hero, but I need you to trust me that I'm not making up a guy for this statement, okay? Okay. I find this mindset quite harmful to discussing not just Evangelion, but any kind of art form. Isn't the great thing about art that many people can get different things from it? If you believe Eva is garbage schlock or peak fiction for your own reasons, deep or shallow, without being a jerk or hurting anyone, isn't that enough? Do you need some armchair critic YouTuber to validate your argument? It's great to talk about and research the media we love, tolerate, or hate, but if you aren't being true to your feelings on the media you experience, why bother discussing it at all? I do feel a lot of what I'm criticizing here stems from how a lot of people are obsessed with having the most objective view on art, along with the rise of irony-poisoned media critics over the last few years, which isn't helped in the Western sphere where Evangelion is a foreign Japanese show, leading to it being stuck with a lot of "Japan is so wacky and weird, am I right?" arguments for critiques that have somehow still persist because lots of people are so self-centered in the country's art, even unintentionally, that if a piece of media doesn't follow their strict storytelling principles, it's scoffed out. Media should be allowed to be experimental and different from the crowd. You may not vibe with these experiments 100% of the time, but it's still a form of human expression that should exist. If Ultraman can teach us to help our fellow man out for a better tomorrow, and Evangelion can teach us that we should love ourselves despite it all, then why can't we apply these lessons to the increasingly toxic world of media criticism? Why can't we have respect for one another and our art without going on aggressive insult campaigns against each other over said art? I mean, this kind of harassment did lead Anno and his crew to make End of Evangelion the way it is. A bitter screw you to those who didn't engage with Evangelion earnestly, whether you liked it or not. The point I'm ultimately trying to get here is that Evangelion is not Ultraman. But if you believe so, it can be. Just think a little deeper when you're criticizing or loving the show.